Hello my friends, let's speak serious here. Russia wants to break the major Ukrainian defense line in Donbass. So after all, the creation of this bridgehead has two of the aims. One is to threaten Mirnograd and Pokrovsk, but the other one is to advance northbound to Zoloty Kolodets, and here is the place for the main Ukrainian trench line. It is the well-known information, I'm not telling you any sort of the insides. And later on I'm gonna show you the different map. So let's zoom out and let me show you yesterday and today. A huge jump done by the Russian army for the last 24 hours. So Russia here moved towards the Rozhny by around 4 kilometers, and they also moved from this lake, I would say, almost close to Kolodetsy, roughly 10 kilometers, just a little bit more, maybe a little less, but it's the huge jump. It means that the local defense here in this region before the main defense line is not that strong. So this is the Russian assault. You may see the expansion of the gray zone. Still, yeah, it's a gray zone with a little expansion of the red one, but it went for the far distance. And here is the main Ukrainian defense line. You may see it. Amber color. So for now Russia sends some of the sabotage groups, they create actually the expansion of the gray zone, and later on Russia sends more reinforcements. So the previous defense line, you may see it over here, it already has been penetrated by the Russian army, but it wasn't that significant as the next one. So here we have this map, the Russian attack vector is over here. The idea for them is to penetrate the Ukrainian defense line and go behind the front lines, encircling Ukrainian group in Slavyansk, Kramatorsk, Konstantinovka, at the same time simultaneously attacking from all of the sides. All of those pockets, pushing also here. By the way, Russia had the territorial gains there recently. So it's much bigger operation which Putin planned actually for this summer campaign. That's why there was the information that Putin promised to Donald Trump to occupy Donbass quite soon. So in other words, if Russia is definitely successful in this part, if they definitely find the weak spot in Ukrainian defense and penetrate it, it would give Russia pretty much high chances to be successful in Donbass. Yes, it might not happen this year, but it might happen. And I see that Ukrainian defense in this region is kind of weak. If Russia already touches this main Ukrainian defense line, it means that no, it's not good at all. More to the west, you may see that the line doubles, but in this area where Russia strikes, it's the thin line. Also, there are some of the gaps, but this is the forest patch, so it's hard to tell whether Ukraine dig down the trenches across the forest. And this is the topography of the place. By the way, we're gonna review with you the 3D map. So Russia for now advances from this side, but they also might go using the higher land and then penetrate defense line, expanding their attack forward, trying to encircle the main Ukrainian army group in Donbass. As for the 3D map, it's lagging. You may see that all of this territory should be colored in red already. I wonder what happened to this map. But anyways, this is Zoloty Kolodets, the place where Russia may try to attack. And as I've told you, it's on the lower ground. So it's kind of the profitable direction. Russia goes downhill. Also, if we switch to the satellite image in deep state military map, you may see that Russia might use even the railroad to go to Dobropilya. Dobropilya, by the way, was evacuated by Ukraine already. I mean, evacuation was announced the last week for civilians. Military is still present there, of course, as in many of those directions. And today, after streaming on my trash channel and on Twitch, by the way, all of the links in the video description below, there I stream different strange stuff, but if you like to see me or communicate with me on streams, join me over there. Sometimes I will speak about Ukraine, sometimes about other topics. Well, anyways, Jake Bro today attended my trash channel, and later I decided to check out his newly uploaded video, and here, yeah, Jake Bro is my mate, he's a great guy, but here I totally disagree with what he said relative to the front lines, because I review those every day.
But the Russian military is pathetic. They are not making significant progress on the battlefield. They could never be weaker than they are today. So, of course, Donald Trump is looking for a way to save them.
So Jake, sorry, probably you're gonna watch this video, but I disagree with this statement. The rest of the video, I totally agree with you about Donny, about Putin, everything, but I review those maps like every day, and I see Not the breakthrough so far from the Russian army, but they take ground more, way more than it was several months ago. And to confirm that, we may go to this plane map and let's go back for maybe 1 month ago. I will lower my image, so 10th of July. It was like this, yeah? And today, again, 10th of July, 1 month ago, and it is today. You see significant advancement. This is the newly created bridgehead. Russia also tries to attack Pokrovsk with their sabotage groups. I'm gonna speak about this today as well. Russia increased significantly these bridgeheads in size, and they're very close to the main defense line. If they penetrate it, it's not going to be a catastrophe for Ukraine, but for Donbass, it could be a decisive fact. That's why I told that Pokrovsk is so important that if Russia takes it, they may attack Ukraine from this side. I was telling about it probably even the last year, then Russia was very close to Pokrovsk. That basically it could be the key for Donbass. But we see that Russian intention is to go northbound to encircle all of this agglomeration of the cities and settlements, even without occupying Pokrovsk. So of course they will attack the city, they will try to encircle it, they are fighting for it already, we see, but they already may act in the north because they cut this supply. So here we have the only supply line available for Pokrovsk, and if it is gone, Russia will send all of its forces to north in attempt again to encircle Donbass. And for sure Ukraine will not withdraw the forces voluntarily from Donbass, but there is the significant change now with Russia sending more reinforcements. According to my information, there are 100,000 soldiers deployed just in this pocket around. This is very huge and significantly outnumbers Ukrainian army also deployed in this region. So guys, I want to tell you that if Ukraine wouldn't act right now at this direction, cutting Russian assault vector, sending emergency reinforcements to the place, Russia may or even will penetrate Ukrainian defense line. And it could be a decisive factor for this region. Yes, as Jake Bro mentioned here, Russia has significant losses, like their infantry is just being devastated, but they still have this resource. Volunteers are signing contracts with the Russian army. Some of the women even were taken from the Russian prisons, as we saw in videos. So -1 guy on scooter or -1,000 guys on many motorcycles doesn't really that matter for the Russian military command. At least at this stage, still they have the problem with soldiers, but now it's not that significant. For next year, probably Russia may announce a new mobilization, and it's the last chance actually for Putin to attack using his army full scale without that not okay measure for the Russian society, I mean mobilization. And guys, again, I like Jake Bro, I like what he does, and he collects the funds to support the Ukrainian military. Just this remark, well, I must say it cut my ear because I monitor what is happening. And we shouldn't sugarcoat the events happening on the front lines. Then there are some good news. Yeah, there are good news. But now Russian army has enormous advantage over Ukraine. That's why, guys, I'm so concerned about Ukrainian military support that we have issues, especially then Donald Trump became the president of the United States of America. So what is the perspective? And yeah, it's very, very bad, at least for now and maybe for the next 3.5 years. And as I probably mentioned you statistics for the losses before, so between 27th of July and 3rd of August, Ukraine even lost more of the armored vehicles. Russia loses more infantry forces, but Ukraine loses more of even tanks, I would say. The statistics for the last week should be published, I guess, tomorrow. Even I don't like it, but that's the reality. And we have some news coming from Pokrovsk. Deep State Military Map did their analysis, so they say that a couple of days ago there was the offensive done by 150 Russian soldiers. They went from Pischane. They were divided into 3 of the smaller groups. Each one counted 50 of the soldiers, and they tried to go to the city center as the small Russian sabotage groups did before. But this time Russian army decided to risk. The Deep State writes that the group was detected even before in Selidove, the main Russian hub in this area, And after they were spotted in Peshchana village, where they spent several of the days preparing for this operation. And all of those points are each day they moved ahead. So as average, they moved by 600 meters per day. Deep State says that the group was well trained, coordinated, and they received supplies from the drone drops. Mostly water and food. They also had some of the masking munition, which eliminates or lowers the thermal trace from the body, so for thermal cameras not to spot them. But after some time, Ukraine started to drop some of the presents from the drones as well. And as you understand, it was not food nor the drinks. As a result of the Ukrainian drone operations, just 30 soldiers, Russian soldiers, made it alive. Many surrendered to Ukrainian side. And one of those videos I showed you yesterday, how Ukrainian army imprisoned those soldiers. If you haven't seen it, please check out my latest updates. So is it a successful operation done by the Russian side? Not at all, but they don't care. They may send 150 soldiers more, and more. It's their tactics of the mid-waves. They may try to send those from this side, until they find the weak spot in Ukrainian defense. One group goes inside some of the area, district, and then Russia may send more and more. So it's their usual thing, how they propel forward. Heavy losses, yes, but they make it happen, like they take territories. So this is Pokrovsk, yeah, just to remind you, here some of the Russians surrendered to Ukrainian side. Quite positive news. But the rest, yeah, as I said to you, we have also the confirmation from the Myko 73 analytic that Russia definitely went to Zoloty Kolodes, the place of the main Ukrainian defense line in Donbass, entire Donbass. So the link for Myko 73 maps you may find in the video description below. Now let's go for the general map update. Russia also moved in Sriblansky forest before Ukraine had the advantage here, and now Russian army expands this gray area, turning it into red, so they applied their positions with regular armed forces. From the good news, there is the Ukrainian counterattack in Tolstoy village, so it was yesterday, it is today, just a clarification maybe of the front lines, or maybe Ukraine definitely got this tree line under control, but it is just few meters. Well, the other good thing that Russia tried to advance from tourist direction, and they lost many of the vehicles once again. Before they lost those in Katerinivka, and now we have the new attack. Ukraine repelled everything of that. Also, Russia continued to lose their vehicles. For example, this happened in Verkhny Kamensk. 2 of the Russian BMPs were kaputted. Guys, if you want to know my personal opinion, well, I would compare the current situation with encirclement of Avdiivka more than 1 year ago, maybe already 2 years ago, right? Let's go to the timeline, 2023 August, and yeah, make it 10th of August. You see the situation here. Russia was advancing from 2 of the sides. It's their classical offensive. As you may see, Ukraine tried to counterattack. Russia was standstill. And in February, they fully occupied Avdiivka. Here, Zaluzhny was already dismissed. And let's zoom out and let's go today. This is the moment for 2 years almost, a little bit less. But the movement is there. Yeah, sometimes I also encouraging you guys. For example, I told in my video that, okay, Wagner army took Bakhmut and Chasiv Yar is just 9 with something or 10 kilometers away from Bakhmut, and Russia struggles to take it under control. But in different direction, you may see how much they moved. Putin has political go, and little by little Russian army is crawling. So for Pokrovsk, it's the key city, as I continue to tell you. So if Russia takes Pokrovsk, it opens them several of the ways of how to attack Ukraine even more. They could move to Pavlograd, even try to move there, but I think they'll concentrate the efforts, from what I see, judging on their assaults, to encircle this territory or to take it under control. They advance towards Liman, they're taking the ground here recently, yeah, this attack, they go from this side, they want to penetrate Ukrainian defense, they attack from Chasiv Yar more, from this side, from Toretsk to Konstantinivka. So little by little, but they move further from every side. That's their plan for this agglomeration of the cities, settlements, and so on. The situation is like that for now, and Ukraine needs to have or to take urgent measures to cancel this Russian attack, especially this one. And guys, please check out my other videos which I uploaded recently. So the last morning there was the Ukrainian strike on the Russian refinery facility. Ukraine tries to fight back, hitting Russian oil economy. And also I discussed the situation about Donald Trump, Zelensky and Putin and the possible meeting in Alaska. And guys, thank you so much for motivating me to film more with your kind support on Patreon. The link for my Patreon page is in the video description just below. And now please don't forget to press your like to this video. By doing so, you also help me. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are. Yeah, like this. And have a great time. Stay awesome.